tremendous amount of respect for him and Nikki and his family. It's been fun to have him around for 2 years. Obviously, I was with him in Baltimore, and just the type of competitor, leader, and then just really the people they are in the community. To see what he did in Baltimore with his foundation and then carry it to Carolina and bring it out to L.A., just special stuff they're doing, and just think the world of him. And I know if he sees this, Coach Bozeman will end up, and both Coach Bozemans, I believe. I think I could see them both back home coaching high school and imparting their beliefs and principles in young men and women. So tremendous amount of respect for him, appreciation for him, and love for him and his family. So congrats to him and his retirement. And plan going forward. We've been discussing that and got a new offensive staff, which leads to some scheme changes. So we've been meeting. We'll get together again after the combine, and we'll have a plan to attack once the open season opens.
We're going to get right back to the Joe Hortiz presser in just 1 minute, but I want to make sure that you know why you should subscribe to Chargers Now. We are going to have you covered throughout the week of the NFL Combine, but more importantly, we are going to have you covered with free daily videos throughout the 2026 NFL offseason. We're going to have news and rumors videos on the draft, free agency, which is right around the corner, and so much more. We're going to take you all the way up into the 2026 NFL regular season. We have interactive and informative content. If you want to make sure that your voice is heard, get in the comment section of our videos. We always love hearing your guys' takes and opinions. It helps us craft content around the things that you want to see. Now, after you hit that sub button, let's get back to that presser.
Yeah, we've talked to either the players or their agents, and we'll continue to talk to them up until free agency and into it if we have to. They know we want them back. They know we want them back, and I think that's when players go into free agency once the season ends. It takes a little bit of time, but we'll keep chipping away at it and see if we can get something done with them.
So for me, nothing's changed as far as like investing in 3 expensive contracts in the interim if we were to get a 2 extension done as well. Bring both those guys back.
Yeah, I have no problem having a bunch of great edge rushers.
And with Thule, where do things stand on extension talks? Have you guys done those?
No, we have not begun them with Thule yet. We got a little bit of time, kind of focused on free agency, but we want Thule around for a long time. It's a possibility, yeah. I love Keenan. I love him. Look what he did for us last year.
Is the tag an option with any of these?
I don't see us tagging anyone right now.
Yeah, so there's several trades. I'll say right in front of the race where that's going to be
Yeah, 22-year-olds are young now, right? It's a really neat dynamic. With COVID, with players staying for the 4th or 5th year because of NIL, you definitely have an older crop this year. I think it'll level out a little bit going forward once we're clear of the COVID 6s. The guys that got the extra year of COVID and the red shirt, but it should level out some. But you never know. The age, they're still older, but the whole class is older. So when you see a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old, you're like, wow, this guy's a baby now, And they were young, but they're almost more rare now. So I think everyone always has upside. I really do. I think there's players that are 28 years old that can get better. You just get them with new coaching, new strength programs. I see what Ben Herbert does at our place, and he brings vets in, and he makes a big impact on them as 5th, 6th, 7th year vets. So there's always upside in players. But, yeah, I think as a whole, you say a guy who's 21 is going to grow more those 4 years versus a guy who's 25 in the draft.
Just with center, Joe, are you expecting to address that in free agency?
We will try. Mm-hmm. Both. That's why there's 3 receivers out there on the field, right? You got guys that can just shake away from a defender like that, and then there's guys that can catch the back shoulder or contest the ball on the sideline. I think if you have a complement of all types of receivers, you help your team. If you have 3 that do the same thing and nobody can catch contested, they all can separate, that's good. But at some point you're going to need someone that can make the contested catch, especially when the field shrinks in the red zone. So I think they both types of receivers have value for the league. I mean, I think both receivers are tough to find. I think, you just take shots at it. There's some guys that specialize in contested balls, so I feel like we have a good complement of both on our team. And so to say which is harder to find, I don't know. Guys that can separate are tough to find, like truly separate. But to find the guy that can make the 50-50 ball and 80-20 ball, they're hard to find too. So you just keep looking, keep taking shots for them. Yeah. Jesse, I love. It's funny. I talked to Eric through the process, and we all remember Jesse as a young coach, and just to get back with him in Los Angeles and see how he's grown as a play caller, as a leader. It's different when you're a safeties coach or a defensive assistant and a safeties coach, and then you're put in front of a room to lead. And to see how well he handled that in Los Angeles was just amazing. And not only his ability to lead the room, to communicate, but then the way he interacts with everyone in the building, his ability to evaluate players, evaluate staffs, coaches. He put together a great staff there in Baltimore, and so love Jesse, and really developed a great friendship. Hated to see him go, but love to see where he ended up.
Obviously, how much continuity is important. I talked about how what was your reaction to Steve making the change as coach and with big shoes to fill? What do you think Jesse puts together so he can step in?
Yeah, my first reaction, I was a little surprised because the continuity, haven't been there for 26 years. I knew how important it was, but definitely understand the move, and I also see what it allowed to happen with John too, and happy for John as well, and happy for the Ravens. And I think if Jesse just is himself, he'll be just fine. He'll be able to fill the shoes, and he'll fill them in his own way.
Joe, with Ty, you guys can save some money if you let him. What's the plan with him? Do you expect him to be on the roster?
Yeah, those are things that we'll discuss. We get back Sunday. All the coaches and staff will meet Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we'll finalize all those plans then.
So is there not a guarantee that he guys on the roster?
I'm not going to talk about that right now, Rim.
With Mike McDaniel, what's it been like with him in the building? What do you think about?
It's been fun, man. The whole process was a blast. Myself, Coach, and Chad sat in all the offensive coordinator interviews, and you really got to just listen to ball and philosophy, and really great. Mike's just great person, great soul, great ideas, great energy. Brought a lot of his staff in, and just they bring great energy to the room. There's excitement about what we're going to do, and he's so excited about it. So his excitement rubs off on you right away. And but really looking forward to it. We've discussed some players in free agency. He'll get more involved in the draft process now once we go through the combine. But I'm really looking forward to it. He's been an evaluator his whole life, and he loves this part of the process. So I'm looking forward to it.
General question about offensive play callers. Mike has a lot of experience hearing his philosophies, but there are teams that hire an offensive coordinator who doesn't have that experience. What do you everything here coaches like that? What do you look for in projecting out someone whether they can do that? How do you understand that?
Yeah, if a guy hasn't called plays, I say give him a shot, because I didn't GM before I GM'd, right? And I think what you do is as a young coach, if your goal is to become a play caller, well, who do you attach yourself to? The play caller, and you learn how to call plays. And heard some really neat answers from some coaches on both sides of the ball during our coordinator searches about how they prepare, how they would prepare, how they did prepare their first year, where they'd watch games and they'd call the play off a live broadcast. And I think there's ways a guy can set himself up to be ready to roll. And but you just, if you're hiring a coordinator who's never called plays, you want to find a smart guy who can handle the moment.
You mentioned the new scheme. With Mike, just how different is the approach to personnel going to be for you guys at all, building into this new system, new scheme?
Yeah, I think the biggest is the offensive line. We went through it in Baltimore, I think in 2014 when we hired Gary Kubiak. We went to the wide zone, and so the draft process, when you do that, it kind of changes how you evaluate a player in the fall versus here we are in February and March when you're evaluating the player. So you have to understand that there's going to be some variability, or the players will move a little bit more on the board than normal because, hey, this guy in our old scheme may have fit better, doesn't fit as well now. So, but scouts know how to evaluate for all positions. We've been doing it our whole careers before Mike got here. This guy's more of his own scheme fit. So now that being said in a report, okay, well, he fits us now.
So fair to say more athleticism.
Yeah, more range. Guys that can get to the cutoff blocks and reach and get out in space.
From the time in Baltimore,
I do, and I think last year with us, and I think about I've said like some of in Baltimore, our worst years is when we had, some struggles on the O-line or got beat up, and this last year was a rare year for us, and it's a testament to all the players. We had a lot of injuries in Los Angeles on the O-line, and testament to all the guys to overcome it. And but yeah, you control the lines, you're going to be in a good chance to win the game at the end.
With Zion, obviously the guard market's sort of exploded
Mm-hmm.
recently. What's your sense of where that stands with Zion in this market? Do you guys have like a number that you're not going to go above in terms of this game?
Yeah, we have a range with every player, not just Zion, with every player that we tag a guy with a range, and there's evaluation, and so that's what we do. And is it a hard ceiling? No, I don't think you ever place a hard ceiling on any player, but you have to pay what you think a player's worth or somewhere near there. And so yeah, we'll see what happens with Zion, where the market goes, if he gets to the market, but we'll stay engaged with him through the process.
Do you expect the recent contracts to impact his situation pretty significantly?
We'll see. That's just we'll meet with his agent this week, and we've talked to him already, and we'll continue the dialogue.
Evaluating the position, this is more of a general question for you, Justin. Why would a quarterback leave the team, draft a strong quarterback, if not every year as often as they possibly can?
You got to have one to take. Listen, you can't just. The position's incredibly valuable, right? And but you still have to be convicted that this can be the guy that'll lead your organization going forwards. And listen, it's hard to find a really talented starting quarterback in the NFL. So you don't want to throw away picks, because that pick does have value, whether it's a quarterback or any position. You could take, anything, and you get more value after taking a quarterback you don't like.
Are you guys going to existing situation maybe affect the way you view how much percentage chance a guy can be that guy?
Our existing situation.
Just a general situation.
I mean, I would just say, if you got a guy you like, you take him. If not, take another position.
Are you guys going to exercise Q's fifth year option?
We'll make that decision shortly. We have till May for that one.
How does this scheme change in terms of protecting Justin? What are some other ways you can work this offseason to make sure that you do a better job of making sure the quarterback doesn't get as much as he is passing?
Yeah. I think Mike's got some good ideas in terms of the ways to protect Justin. And then, listen, we're always going to try to help Justin, and that's throwing more players at all positions to help the team. And so we're going to attack the O-line, we're going to attack the defense, we're going to attack the backs, tight ends, everything. Wideouts. The more weapons and more players we can put around Justin, the better we protect Justin. I'm not going to tip my hand on any players right now.
Well, I'll follow up just with the familiarity with Tyler Linderbaum's time.
No, I'm not going to talk about any players under contract with other teams. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to speak in hypotheticals. Nice try, though.
The older players coming in and all that, you've had a few years of like NIL babies coming to the league now. Have you noticed a difference with those players as far as working hard, entitlement, anything like that?
The coolest thing about college scouting that we always had to answer, right, when we were going to schools, how's the guy going to be when he has money? Now we have that answer. So some guys get the money and change the way they are. Other guys get the money and change the bid. He spends, you hear stories about takes his guys out for dinner. He spends his NIL money on his teammates. Work hard, leader. So you kind of get the answer, and so it's actually it's a great thing in a sense, and it's great for the players, in college to have that opportunity to make some money.
With how little?
I'm sorry. Well, just his plan, his intelligence, his energy, charisma. Now, we knew a lot of that from when he was here, but his preparedness for the interview. I talked to Chris before Jesse actually got a job. I just said, hey, listen, if Jesse's got 8 at the time, 8 and ended up being 9 interviews, and we'd like to interview, see if we can get it set up. And we had a chance to interview him down in Mobile, and just his energy, his creativity, his ideas for going forward. Not just this is what I did, but this is what I want to learn. And just did a great job.
Last one, guys.
No. I think he didn't surprise me because I knew how talented he was when he was here in 2024. But he did what I thought he would do. To say we had a favorite, no, we were looking inside and externally, and so we had interviewed a lot of great candidates, both internally and externally, and a number of guys could do the job, but we just felt he was the best option.
How excited were you to get
Oh, I think anytime you can do it. Someone asked a question earlier about calling plays. Anytime you gain that confidence, doing it for a year, I'm sure that'll help him. But he's a great coordinator in the sense that he knows his staff makes him a great coordinator and great play caller. So he'll rely on all the guys in the room and put together something good.
Thanks, Joe.
That's it.